So far, the score is 0-6. 6 to the bulls, 0 to Jason. It's been probably one of the hardest seasons I've had to hunt, and for many reasons. Hey everybody, welcome back to Frank's Homestead. This is Jason, and just giving you a little update on what my season is going like so far this year. And as you can tell, it's not good so far, but it has been very exciting, and I'm having a great time doing it. Here's the situation. This year, it's the last any precipitation we got was back on August 21st, and today is September 8th, 2021, and so everything is just bone dry. You can see it's just completely dry. Well, take that, and then you've got the fires that are going on all over the place, and the smoke that just keeps coming in. Some days so far this season is been very smoky, and it almost hurts to breathe when you get up high in the mountains. And not only that, the area that I usually hunt, that I go out and I scout and cut in trails and to help me get the animal out, is closed because of the extreme fire conditions that are still existing here. And so I had to find a new place to hunt, and where I ended up going was about 8 miles from my house to an area I'd driven the four-wheeler on the roads, off of service roads, Forest Service roads, but I never explored or hunted, and I had to kind of find my way and figure out where the elk were hiding and living at the time. So my hunt got off to a rough start because of these conditions. And so day one, I started up really high on the mountain, and I heard a bull. And the only reason I know it was a bull, I don't know if it was a moose or if it was a bull elk, but I heard antlers through the brush, and so I knew it was that. But my wind was blowing directly to him. He knew I was there, and there was no way of getting in on him. Day two, I went to a different area where I started up high. Wind was in my favor, and I hunted an open timber area that looks like this. And unfortunately, I didn't see the bull before he saw me, and so yeah, I was busted. So that's how the first 2 days went. Then after that, I decided, well, I need to find more water, because even elk and deer need to drink water every day, and I had no idea if there was any high mountain water at all. So I moved down lower to a different spot, and I just happened to find a spot where it looked like there could possibly be water there still. And so I walked back in there, and sure enough, I saw these rubs on the trees, or brush I should say, and so that let me know that, hey, something's in the area. These were kind of big rubs, so I figured it's probably a moose, but it's not uncommon to find moose and elk together in the same area. So then I started exploring this area and found water, found lots of tracks, and said, okay, well, here's where I'm going to hunt. So I've been working that since last week. I've been pushing this area pretty hard, so I took the day off so that way I could let it calm down a little bit. The Labor Day weekend was really busy, lots of vehicles, lots of hunters. Fortunately, they were respectful to my area. They saw me there and didn't hunt there. I had one guy actually who didn't realize I was there, but he came out, and then he wrote in the dust on my four-wheeler, sorry, meaning, you know, he was sorry for encroaching on my hunting area. This area that I found, as I explored more, it turned out to be a lot of brush on the east side of this little ridge, and more timber, a little more open timber-ish on the west side of the ridge. And as I walked up the first day up onto the ridge, I heard a noise to my right, so I started going that way, and it was obviously a big animal walking through. Didn't know what it was, so I started following it and going that direction, and lo and behold, it turned out to be a big bull moose. And so I was able to take my camera out of my pocket and get a little footage. I didn't get real great footage because I figured I was close enough to this guy. He was huge. So after shooting this video for a little bit, I decided it was time for me to go before he winded me, and who knows what. You know, anybody that knows anything about moose knows that they can be pretty temperamental, and especially this time of year, bulls go into the rut as well. So I didn't want to hang out any longer. So I turned around from there, went the other direction on the ridge to the north, and lo and behold, I did get one cow to call, and then a bull walked about 10 yards away, broadside to me. And so I put an arrow in, and I had it knocked, and I had it draw back, and the guy stopped right behind a big stump. I had no shot opportunity, and it was real frustrating. And of course, at that point, he busted me. He realized something wasn't right. His head was sticking out just perfect, but it was real brushy as well, so no shot opportunity. And that kind of ended that day. He took off, the cows took off. I explored some more, found out that in the brush there's big open areas. The trails are big and easy for them to walk through, not so much for me, but they can get through it just fine, and quiet too. So I went back the next day, and nothing. They had all moved down, probably to source water. So I spent that day looking exactly where water was on the backside, or that east side of that ridge, because I knew there had to be water somewhere. And I found it. It was just a little trickle, but that's all they need. Went back to the third day, and the wind was blowing from the north, so I went to the right on this little ridge, and lo and behold, I saw a bull elk just off the trail, antlers moving all around. So I knocked an arrow, and I just waited. He walked totally broadside to me at 10 yards. He was walking, and so I did a cow call just from my mouth, just meow. He stopped, looked over like, what's going on there? 10-yard shot. I had it dialed in. I released, and as soon as I heard the noise, I realized I had missed him. And it turned out because it was a branch from a bush that the arrow had hit, and it dove right underneath him. And I just couldn't believe it. I was just heartbroken that had happened. I'm like, what in the world is going on? So it took me a minute to figure that out, but that's just how it goes. You know, because when you're looking through your sight, you've got your peep, you've got your sights up here, but your arrow is down here, lower. Well, when you're looking through your peep, you can't see that, and that's exactly what happened. I had just one little branch that was horizontal, and it hit that and just poof, right underneath them at 10 yards. I couldn't believe it. But that's how it goes. And so, like I said, the day after that, I went back up there, and the smoke was really bad from the local fires. The wind had blown it in, and it got really hot. This is yesterday was almost 90 degrees here, and it was horrible. I was about dying. I realized that looking at the tracks and their pattern, they hadn't spent any time up on top of the mountains. That meant that they were down lower. So at that point, I just decided that I was going to let them have a day off for me pushing them around, and also give myself a break. I haven't had coffee in, well, 7 days, because if I get up too early and I don't have time to drink coffee. So I figured I'd give myself a break as well and take the day off, make this video, show you and tell you guys how things are going, show you some of the landscape that I've been working, what it looks like in this area. The bulls have been in the rut, but there's been no bulls bugling at all. I only heard one cow call so far out of all this time I've spent in the field. So they're just super quiet. I heard crunching through the bushes, thought it might be an elk, and it turned out to be a moo cow, and then it mooed at me, and I was like, okay, what is that all about? So, surprise there. So that's how my season's going so far. I've still got 4 more days to hunt before I have to go back to work, and then of course I still have I believe 2 more weekends that I get to hunt as well. And fortunately I work 4 days a week versus 5, so I'll have 3 days off. And that'll give the elk time to really calm down. But then I'll probably have to find them again, because they do move around a lot. So that's where things are at, and happy hunting, and good luck to all you hunters, and soon to be hunters. Have a great season.